So welcome to Diary of a Sleeping Goddess. I had the beautiful guest Lisa Melbourne with me, and I invited Lisa here to join us because there was some form of social media post that you put out, and it was just you filming yourself going to Pilates and, going to doing your work and your tarots or your oracle cards. And I just thought, you know what? That's the life that I'm really seeking for myself and when you seek that, all of a sudden all the layers and the belief systems and the conditioning comes through. So I just wanted to go, I need to speak to Lisa. I want her to come on here as the goddess that she is and just kind of share your journey, share your steps, your stepping stones, really, if that's all right.
Oh, thanks, Gemma. Um, Thank you for having me. And we said prior to arranging this chat that it's what you see and that where you're at that moment in time looks so finished and so polished and so effortless and so easy. And we know that walking a conscious path that creates a lot of change, internally, which then ripples outwards into your outward life. It's not easy, it's not linear. Um, and I'd be lying if I said that where I'm at right now is, absolutely like this is the vision, this is it. It's everything's always a work in progress. And I'm always having to be vigilant with myself as well and where I'm at and what I need. Um, but yeah, if where my journey helps anybody else, I'm more than happy to share what has sort of unfolded for me, really.
Yeah, and I think it's the reason why is because I think we're coming to a situation really with a lot of women are just burnt out. We're exhausted. We hit the old perimenopause and menopause, and for me, it's actually a gift for us to come into our power, to our wise woman stage. We've gone for the maiden, we've gone for the mother, and now we're in the wise woman. I don't go crone because that's got the attachments to it, which again is society condition and things. But it's for me, it's like a huge transition of our journey to finally wake up to who we truly are. And and whereas we think our body is trying to do something against us, it's trying to call us back to
Mm.
who we really truly are.
Mm.
And the message is the body is never trying to harm us, it's never trying to hurt us, it's just trying to call us back to our joy, back to our power, back to our light. And and I just feel like at that point we start to question things. We start to go, is this really serving me? What is my place in this world, especially if children are growing up as well, depending on if you've had children or not. But but for me, it's like, I don't want to be a busy fool anymore. I'm really feeling that. I'm like, that certainly today, like when you're rushing, it's like, I don't like this feeling anymore where I'm scattered. It's just not nice. And what I want is actually a lifestyle that I wake up in the morning, I do my self-care, I find my space, my boundaries, and then I'm doing the work that I love to do, and the income's coming from that. Um, and so I think most people, women are starting to wake up at this point and realizing there's something more to life, and it just what you're sharing and I expect it's been hard work. It's been a lot of hard work for you.
Yeah, uh, I've always felt like there are two halves of me. And even now, even this morning, as I lit my incense and I did my morning grounding, when I feel into my energy, even this morning, where I'm at in my life, I still feel like that my feminine, which is the left side of my body, and my masculine, the right side of my body, are still trying to wage a bit of a battle between each other. And I'm always vigilant. I can feel it literally like two halves in my body, and which keeps me vigilant of my own thoughts because I've spent a long time stuck between head and heart. What feels safe, what I've been conditioned to believe is the right thing to do as a woman, as a mother, as a partner. Um, that traditional kind of work model is something that I've struggled with since having children. And so where I'm at the moment, in some ways I feel like I've come full circle. So I grew up in a very masculine dominated world, not in a negative way, but my dad was military. I was surrounded by military, and as a kid, I always looked up to him, wanted to impress him. And he was a very regimented man. And so a lot of the decisions and the choices I made were looking back, I realized were around him. And joining the military myself was something that I feel was deep rooted in my relationship with my dad, but also wanting to prove something to myself as a woman. My relationship with my mum was in there with that as well. She was very much from a young age, she was like, stand on your own 2 feet, don't get yourself trapped financially in a situation with someone that makes you feel like you're stuck and you can't leave that marriage. And so she was very unhappy and felt she was trapped in her circumstances with my dad and their marriage. And so all these things,
Mm.
that kind of take deep root into your psyche, your inner child stuff, and the way you see the world, relationships, work, yourself, led me down the path of the military, which gave me everything I needed at the time, stability, focus. Um, when I left, I was in my late 20s, found out I was pregnant, and I realized that it was the first time that I was really faced in a very conscious way with myself. And
Mm.
I felt lost. And I felt completely reliant on my husband at the time for everything because the pregnancy was unexpected. I had plans to go into nursing, that didn't happen. Um, and so that I feel is really where my conscious relationship with myself the awareness really stepped in. And I started to support myself in a holistic way. Fast forward, I've trained in therapies, I've supported women's health, and then 4 years ago, I studied astrology, and really that held up a mirror to me of my life, my gifts, my strengths, my cyclical patterns of behavior. And it was another layer, another deep dive into what do I really want? Like, what I ended up working 2 jobs. I was self-employed for a decade, but when I left my husband, I went into fear and panic mode over not being able to support myself. And so I took on another job as well as my own job, and I was burnt out.
Mm.
I did it because I felt like I needed that financial safety. And my body was screaming at me, Gemma. Like it was just screaming at me. And then um, I recognized that it didn't make me happy. This was not happiness. This was not fulfillment. I
Mm.
wasn't practicing what I was preaching to my community, to my clients. Um, and so I made the decision, you're be all in. You're either all in or you're not at all. Because, you've got to meet the universe halfway. You've got to meet your dreams halfway. You can't expect them to land in your lap. It's not going to be easy, but I just shifted my mindset, and
Mm.
it's still hard. It's still difficult. I wake up and instantly there's that automatic thought process because our thoughts like the familiar path of,
Yes.
of anxiety of, oh my God, what if I what if I don't have any clients this week? What if?
Mm.
Slowly working my way through that. And I've come to realize that the most valuable things for me in life are the little things, like being able to sit and enjoy my coffee in the morning instead of a commute. I don't
Mm.
need a big, lavish life. I've realized I find contentment in the everyday small things, the safety of my home, the love of my children, my partner, the freedom to be able to create my work and live on my own time frame. But it isn't a path for the faint-hearted. it is hard, but
Mm,
it is doable. You've just got to be all in. You've got to make it, you've got to hit that point where you're like, something needs to change. Um, yeah, and that's where I'm at now. And
yeah,
every day I say to myself, I'm all in with my dreams today, all in. I'm not just one
that's
foot
like
in and
that.
one foot out.
I like that. It's like when you were talking earlier, it's like it's trust, isn't it? And I think, is this trust in self? And we talk about the universe and we're meeting it and we talk about energy and we, need to be the frequency and it's like, is this a level layer of trust in self that we have to, it's easy sharing it for others, but do we do it for ourselves, isn't it? And I mean, for me, it feels like it's deep neural work. You have to go into the inner neural system and find that inner safety because your thoughts and wants got the foot on the accelerator, but everything else has got it on the brake. And it's like, that's not going to be great for our systems, is it? So we can't drag ourselves there. I feel like we have to shift the whole inner landscape first to be able to make those more graceful steps.
God, it's harder though, isn't it? It's hard. You've hit the nail on the head with where I'm at the moment. It's like working on those neural pathways, creating new ones.
Mm,
And God, it's hard. It is hard at 44 years old to rewire my brain,
mm.
not just on every now and again, every single day having that vigilance, but in a way that you're not holding yourself prisoner. You've also got to find a natural flow through life, and you know, um, when like you were saying earlier, I'm also going through that perimenopause change. And I said to my other half the other day, my God, I couldn't do an employed role now, even if I wanted to, because at the moment I'm dealing with erratic hormones and cycles
You
that
dealing
turn.
with the rage, yeah? Have you got any of that?
Yeah, I'm dealing with pain that I've never experienced before, and so I'm working through
Yeah.
that. I'm giving myself my own medicine as well as what I'm giving other people, and
Mm.
that's where I've never quite hit that mark in all the years I've been working with other people. I've never quite hit that mark with myself. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of it's knowing that you are this pureness, this universal source. And then it's kind of going, and then the body just takes you or the brain takes you into everything that isn't that. And it's having that enough self-mastery, isn't it? That connection to yourself to go, okay, this is just old patterning coming up. It's I'm not my thoughts unless I choose them to be.
Mhm.
So I can see the spiral it wants to go down to, but I'm choosing not to go down that. And it's how you can each be present in our hearts. For it's all about being present in my heart and in my body and go, that's not my truth. This is my truth. This is my choice. So when I've got even like things like competitiveness or comparison stuff coming up, and it's a voice thing. Oh, I don't like that. That's a horrible thing to think. So you feel like you're thinking it, so you have a hard time with yourself. It's like, well, maybe it's not even me. Maybe that's not even my thoughts, because you know what? I don't like that. I'm a visceral response against that. So actually my choice is this. So, but it's knowing that we can be objective of ourselves. I think that's the real key, how we can observe ourselves a little bit more curiously and not fall
Mhm.
into those ruts at times.
I think that word observe is something that I talk about a lot, and I wrote a whole chapter on it. It becoming the observer is something that if I was to suggest one mindful thing to someone to practice it, when they're in having those days when they're in a down, when they're struggling, Become the observer of your own thoughts. Imagine you're just stood at the back of the room in your head, just observing yourself and what's going on. Um, I've also, mantras have become a really powerful thing for me. It's taken me over a decade to really start to embody the practices that I've been talking and sharing about with other people, really embodying it myself and going into that deeper neural layer. One of the mantras I like to say every day especially if I'm in one of those days where I recognize that it's probably hormones, I'm tired, I'm whatever, um, or it's a repetitive pattern of thinking that's taking me into anxiety. I always hear this little inner voice, this too shall pass. It'll pass.
Mm.
This too will pass. And, so just find your way of being a bit softer with yourself because you've been here before and everything's always okay. And it is being that gentle inner friend with yourself, being in communication with yourself. Um, all the time, actually, for me, I'm always in communication with myself in a really conscious way. And I've come to realize as well, I'm a deep person, Gemma. Like I think deep, I feel deep. I'm a very deep emotional person, which makes me quite serious sometimes. I recognize
Mm.
I have a wicked sense of humor, but I'm also quite a serious person
Yeah.
because I view life from this deep layer. And I used to feel quite ashamed by that because, you've always got that best friend who's the bouncy, bubbly one in the group that makes everyone laugh, who finds it easy to talk to everyone. And that's never been me. But actually, I'm okay with that. I also recognize when I need to lighten up a bit. But
There is that, isn't there? There is a definite, when you can feel the depth of where we can go as a human level, it's and see so much.
yeah,
It's how you can, superficial conversations aren't really a thing, are they?
no, I
And
struggle with small talk.
mm. No, and then you think, can't I just lighten up a bit?
I know.
It's just like, you look at the whole world and you see this and I think, I just need to discern what is mine and what is not and keep coming back into what's responsibility. But it's like there's something cracks open in you and you can feel you can see it all.
Yeah,
And but then it's about equally just still being human and just go and have a laugh. And
yeah.
it's an interesting one to work to navigate, I find.
When you, I think when you're doing this work on yourself and you naturally, what you witness within yourself, you witness then the external circumstances of your life. And when you start to shift, you recognize the things in life that do not feel good for you, that don't feel like the fit that they used to feel. That's relationships, work, just the way our life is structured in our society, Western society, is structured. It all suddenly feels at odds, and all of a sudden you don't want to be part of the 9 to 5. You recognize the things that actually are not natural for you, and where you're at this time in your life as well. It's like the blinkers come off, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. But I'm also this big believer that be I use the word bridge and the word balance a lot. Like you've come here to be human as well. And I
Mm.
think sometimes I have to be careful not to get too lost in the depth of everything philosophical, searching for that. Well, what's the deeper meaning of that? Sometimes it just is what it is and it's shit because that's part of the human experience. Remembering to be a human, be present, enjoy time with my children, whatever. And I think that's something that a lot of women, who are walking a similar path will say that they can sometimes struggle with as well, is finding that balance between not disappearing too much into the ether
Yes.
of
Well,
it all.
I mean, I collapsed a little bit into it because, I had some entity attached to me. So it was kind of like all of a sudden light language and all different things. And it kind of takes you what I think in some, you can be really mindful of this spirituality can be it's like a smoke and mirrors. It's like an Alice in Wonderland. Sometimes you can get quite lost in it. And it wasn't until I kind of really realized that, okay, what is my truth? What is true? What is really true? And it just took me to my heart and just said, this is what you connect to. This is the portal that is pure. And and that's when it dropped me into my womb and showed me Sophia, and that's what created Daughters of Golden Rose and everything else that I've been creating. But it's I don't know. Yeah, I just think we have to be really discerning, don't we? We have to really kind of, it is that observation of self, isn't it? It's just like, am I choosing love? Am I choosing fear? Am I connected? Am I present? Am I in my body? Or am I in avoidance? It's, sometimes we think we're going really deep, but are we avoiding sometimes? I don't know. And then sometimes I go through all this and think, oh, just go and dance, just go shake my ass.
Yeah.
And just kind of like just let joy come in.
I think one thing I've really recognized about myself as well is and again something else that I ask myself regularly, do you is it if I'm looking at something that someone else has got, whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's an income, whatever it might be, that gives me that sense of, oh my goodness, that's what I want, that's where I want to be. Actually, is that really where I want to be? Because do I want to live my life the way they're living their life? The sacrifices that have to be made to make that 1 minute reel every day, that, to invite an entire world into that. Is it really, or is it just that you enjoy watching that? And that's okay. You don't have to want that for yourself.
Yeah,
Discerning between, yeah, between the two, like watching people with a certain level of freedom, for example, who can just, for a long time, I felt envious of that. People who could just jet set off, park themselves on a beach in Bali with a laptop, which is wonderful. I can't do that. I've got children. And
mm,
equally, when I got to the root of it, because I really felt like then for a while that I was a bit stuck. Um, I actually, when I really asked myself, is that what you want? No, I'm a real home bird. Like,
mm,
I love my home. I love my coziness. I love the seasons here. I would love to go and park myself on a beach in Bali, but maybe just for a couple of weeks. And it's
yeah,
like really recognizing what's influencing you from the outside and actually, what it is that's really most important, what brings you the most peace, like peace for me, what brings me the most peace is most important. I had to go and do an employed job for a while because I had to. I did at that point need to secure some steady financial income that would helped me buy a house.
mm,
So I asked myself, what do I need right now to feel safe? You need the easiest way to get yourself back on the ladder, because I've moved 3 times with my kids. Every rented property ended up being sold from under us, and I
right,
needed that for my kids. So that was a head over heart moment, but I also saw it for what it was. And I think I always say to people, sometimes people feel like they do, if they were to look at that reel that I made and think, okay, well, I have to be all in. I have to quit everything and I have to have this trust and I have to just go for it. Yes, but equally, you need to find your balance where you're doing it from a place where you can still sustain yourself. Because if you're in complete fear of where you're at, nothing's going to happen. You're going to freeze.
yeah.
You're not going to bring the energy in. Do you know what I mean? So,
You can't convince yourself to feel something, can you? And
no.
that's ultimately what's bringing things in is how you're truly feeling. So if you're actually doing something because you want to do this, but you're still fearful because you don't have the money, you're not really living into that alignment, are you? It is I am finding that we are trying to balance two different worlds. We're trying to create a world that is in tune to us as women, that isn't that we can live in our flow, we can live to our menstrual cycle, to our bleeds, we can rest a little bit more when we're bleeding and, and be more attuned to our body, which the system unfortunately doesn't allow when you're in employment, excuse me. It's just not letting us, you can't have a couple of days off just resting, being at home and whilst you're, through the bleed and so I think we are trying to juggle two worlds, which we're sort of navigating and shifting through. It's like the old way and what we're wanting to bring in into life, isn't it? And it takes time. It doesn't happen straight away.
It really doesn't. It doesn't. Like we were saying earlier, you've got to work on those layers of conditioning within yourself.
Mm,
Um, you know, uh, and then you're navigating life while you're doing that. And that's not easy. Your energy levels, some days you're ready to face the world, with the bit between your teeth, and other days it's like you got me tickly cough now.
so I've
Other
cleared it out.
days,
It's gonna.
other days it's like, oh my goodness, I feel like I literally all I can do is just get through the day. And
Mm,
so when you have this big vision, I think that's the other feeling. When you realize what it is that you want, so many people feel like they've now they're in a rush to get it because you just your brain, your mind, your heart, your soul's already there, can already visualize it, but your circumstances, you feel like you're so far removed from it, and there's such a long way to go to get to that end point. Um, and all of a sudden, we feel like I read that it's a common thing with people who, whether you want to call this the awakening of women. I feel like we're all light workers, but when
mm,
you realize and you're working in this conscious way, there is always that sudden feeling like I'm running out of time. Because for most of us, we recognize this stuff and the shifts we want to make. Like you were saying earlier, Gemma, when you hit sort of middle age and you've got a bit of time, maybe your kids have grown up, maybe you're going through the all the changes physically that you go through as a woman, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know how, I'm here at this point in my life, blinkers are off, and now I've got to get it. I need to catch up with myself because I feel like I've just been treading water for the last 10 years.
yeah.
Um, you know,
Yeah, it's just really interesting, and I think when we hit that stage, I think we're just starting to ask questions. I mean, hormonally, the body shifts it where it's always been about outward, like what can I do to serve? Suddenly, the body will shift and go inwardly, and like, okay, what's right for me? The veil will start lifting, which we'll think is brain fog or ADHD starts to appear. Actually, that could well be PTSD, it could be trauma that's trying to be shifted and moved through. And but not to be re-traumatized, but to be seen for what it is. And a lot of the work that I do is about connecting with that and actually processing it. So it becomes like our inner gold, it becomes our insight. And then that becomes like the part that's in our nervous system that's frozen, that's held in that fear, or friend and fawn, depending on how far that trauma is. And yeah, it's just literally has been like a journey of really asking what serves me. And quite frankly, the system doesn't serve women. It doesn't serve men either. But from our cycles, and especially we work with the moon, we would have had 13 moons, and it would have been the women would have been the gatekeepers. They would have been the clock. They would have been honored in their cycle. And so we're trying to live in a system that was never designed for us. And that's exhausting us. We can do it when we're younger, but not when we're older. And so that I think it comes a big call to self to understand what is it? What do I actually want? And like you were saying a moment ago about, oh, someone's in Bali, that's what I want. What it was freedom. And your type of freedom is something completely different to somebody else's freedom. But I think that's what we're all seeking. We're seeking a sense of freedom, of sovereignty, empowerment.
yeah, that's it. That is the thing. If you were to get to the root of most most things with everybody and the anxiety and the unsettledness and all the things that they're struggling with in life. It's that feeling that they are a slave to a system that does not give them their freedom. It doesn't give them the freedom to live their life the way they really want to live it. I
Mm.
think it's not going to be an easy journey for those of us who are starting to look at the shifts and the changes that we can create to bring that freedom into our lives, because we're all slowly starting to wake up from that deep sleep of being, a sheep to the processes. And we are now in the age of the entrepreneur, and people are taking back that control over their freedom, the way they want to work, what that they're focusing on their passions and creating an income from that.
Yeah.
And the system will do everything it can to make that as hard as possible, because that's not what the system
Doesn't benefit from that.
so it's
Because
never
it
going to
feeds
be
off people. That's basically what it does. It feeds off us like little
absolutely,
ants.
absolutely. um I think, but equally I think we have, because of my beliefs and a lot of the stuff that I look at in astrology, I believe that some of us have come here to be those people that wake up, that create that ripple effect out into the world, into the people that they touch and influence, to open their eyes to a different way. They came here to do that in this life. Some people didn't. Some people came here to give themselves the stability of that traditional job and et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's also okay if if that makes you happy. And so I think we need structure, of course we do. We need a lot of what society brings, of course we do. But I think we're living in a world now where people are deeply struggling with
Mm.
their mental health. Um, Women are the ones that are feeling it, and because we're women and that's how we are made to experience life, from this intuitive feminine intuition wisdom. We are cyclical, and so we were the ones, we were always going to be the ones to I think shine that light and make those changes first, because ultimately those changes um are what we need. The
Yeah.
system doesn't work for us, and yet now the system needs us to work, because cost of living is so high that most people need that two-person income in a household. Um, and so they're expecting that model to fit us, and it doesn't. And
No.
we're strong enough as women to say, no, no,
No.
no more.
I mean, there's just so much that's just coming through my mind right, what to say right now. Like, well, which bit do I to start with? But I mean, the part of it was like women are doing this, and for me, the root is about women coming back together as communities and supporting each other. Because I do feel like there's a real big wound between women that where humanity fell. When because I am being shown that thousands of years ago, women through their womb, through their heart, through the caves would have held the frequency of love, of unity on this planet. They would have held that here for all to enjoy. And when that got broken, this is where we've dropped into these depths that we experiencing individually and collectively. And so it's for us women, not as a responsibility or lugging it on their shoulders. There's a real difference of responsibility here, because a lot of women just take on everything and wonder why they're knackered and exhausted. Being the empath, this is about us creating something new through choices, through connection, and start building it. And we are literally at a seed level of this, that it's not even necessarily completely materialized yet. It's not in the it's an inch it's an initiation. It's a beginning of, isn't it? From what I can feel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But I feel that too. I feel like We are the change makers. We are the ones right at the beginning of that change. And there's still, we are stood between two chapters, and it's a difficult place to be. It's a liberating place to be, but it is a difficult place to be because we're still one foot in the past chapter and the other trying to make our way in the new chapter. We're trying to create the change that we know is needed, that we know is coming, that we need for our future generations. I've got two daughters. One
Mm,
of them is going through the hell of the pressure of trying to decide what it is she wants to do with her life.
mm,
And, again, coming from a grounded approach from all of my own experience, and obviously now living my life in my little cave in my garden as an astrologer, and working with women in this way, like coming from a place where I give her balance, but also don't give her that feeling that she is so constrained to one way of thinking in terms of career. It's hard. It's hard, but you're right. We are that generation, I feel, that are at that. This is the start. We're the
yeah.
ones planting those seeds,
Yes.
and it's not easy. And for us, we might not see that change in our lifetime that we feel and that we desperately want for ourselves.
Mm,
But all we can do is follow the call, follow, that frequency, connect it with all the other women in our lives, be consistent in holding that truth, I think,
mm.
underneath all of the noise in the world, because it's doing more than sometimes I think we realize it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think because we think, well, I know I'm quite impatient.
Mhm.
So when you were talking about your soul's here, already there, and your body's in, thinking, yeah, yeah, I can feel that void of like, which can come into frustration. But it's knowing that we are interacting with universal energy, what I call the creatix. It's this, what is the truth that is the
Mhm.
life that which our womb is part of. And so it feels this is really about heart and womb
Mm.
creation, and then gradually allowing our neural systems to catch up with it. That then
Mhm.
starts to materialize, that we can start calling more money into this,
Mhm.
that where money, love and money merge together and build from. I feel like we're going through a huge alchemy shift of what money is with this work. I feel a lot of people in truth and integrity find money isn't as flowing, and it's like, where's that? Something needs to be alchemized and shifted here as well.
Yeah, this is big work that I'm working on at the moment, with myself. I've always had a rocky relationship with money and income. And then over the years since my divorce and having no familial support, it's just been me and my children. The fear and the anxiety, the pressure. Do you know what? I still earned the same as I did before. And, before my husband and I divorced, he was at uni full time and I was supporting all of us. And yet all of a
Wow.
sudden I had this humongous fear that all of a sudden I couldn't do it anymore. I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. And I had a stable business,
Right.
but the fear was so overwhelming because someone once said to me, and this is why you've got to be so careful with like the advice that you seek from people.
Mm,
Um, this was someone who did my astrology for me years ago. She said, your income, you will go through feast and famine in your life. And so, um, as I think probably most of us do, actually. She wasn't that what she said wasn't wrong. It wasn't, but so,
didn't help.
yeah, I take that and I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to go through famine. But then there
Mm,
was a lot of stuff I had to shift around money because I'd watched my mum live in this she was deeply depressed for most of my childhood. It was all centered around feeling lost, feeling stuck, not earning her own money, couldn't survive without my dad. And all of a sudden, I stepped right into those old stories that actually weren't mine, they were my mum's.
right. Generational. Yeah. And
Yeah.
probably not even hers either.
No.
Yeah.
No, and so I've been working my way through that for the last 4 years.
Hmm.
Ironically, Gemma, training as a shamanic womb healer 3 years ago,
Ah.
and healing, helping everybody else connecting with their energy of their womb space. And there's me, and I'm like, my God, I'm living through the depths of stuff that I need to process in my own womb.
Mm,
Um, Money's a big one because we need it. We do need it. That's
mm,
the bottom line, and it's okay to admit that we need it.
mm,
How do we create the life that we need in that very conscious way with the money that gives us what we need to
mm.
survive? Yeah, that's
It's
a
yeah.
hard one.
This okay, so what's coming through now is because we our belief systems and everything, our neural systems are attached to the patriarchal version of money, which in our soul, in our heart, and our feminine and everything that we're wanting to create is in resistance to that because it's not integrity. And so we want that money, but there's a resistance to it because there is the integrity or the condition attached to it. So this feels like that we kind of clear the belief systems, even the DNA that is the energy of money, and to be able to go, no, this is the life force that flows into what we're creating. It's like a chi energy. I'm strangely seeing it quite as an embodiment, actually, as
Mm.
I'm talking, and it's moving through that resistance of what we think money is. That like for me, I often get that ick of sales when I want to talk about my work, and suddenly that ick comes in. Had no problem selling somebody else's business, but when it comes to my own, oh no, I don't want to look like a salesperson. Um, but then there's a part of you goes like, you've got to get out your own way because what you've got here to offer, people need. You've
Mm.
just got to get out of so yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of just came in as we were talking then.
I love it because one of the visualizations that I've started doing around that energy of chi, that energy of love, abundance of all kinds, is I imagine that I've my crown and my third eye, there's this golden light streaming down on top of me, showering me in this beautiful golden energy that is the energy of chi. And at the other end of this beautiful tunnel of light, there is my own door of abundance. And it's this big gold door up in the heavens somewhere. And I recognize when I'm in those days of lack, I notice the door. Is it open? Is it closed? Is it half open? Is it only opened a crack or is it open fully? And the more I've been visualizing this, the more I've been visualizing that door wide open. And I'm jamming it open with a massive rock. And I'm like, you're staying open. And all
Mm,
of that beautiful energy is flowing through that door and down into me. And that's that energy. That's the energy of, that's the true currency, I feel, of that we feel connected to. And like you say, the idea of this money system we have just isn't, that just isn't it. And the
no.
connotations attached to it and everything like that. And I've been finding that as I've found myself drawn to being more connected to that energy of everything that is, all of a sudden the anxiety is dissipating. And interestingly, money is flowing into my life in an easier way.
Mm,
Um, and I notice when I'm not vigilant, just with that, that I then enter that mindset of lack. And if I really think about it, it's not that I have less than I did last week when I visualized that door wide open. It's my perception of it. It's my
Yeah.
fear, my perception of it. Um, yeah,
Perception is the big key, isn't it? I think that's the miracle, the shift of perspective. And you can literally just change a complete course just by seeing the same thing slightly differently. A little bit like how is this happening for me rather than to me. That could be a real, because that just takes you out of the victim energy and takes you straight into I'm empowering through this. I have choices. I'm not stuck in this. But that visualization of opening that door and sticking a frigging rock in it, it's like I am here. I am taking this. I'm not begging here with my little bowl going, please, sir, can I have some more? It's like, no, fuck it. I am here. I am present. And I am claiming this. Um, but that feels also about the benefit, to be able to receive. This is what I'm feeling is like that real feminine energy when you're in it is to know that you're safe to receive. We're safe to be in our feminine energy. Um,
yeah,
Again, yeah, that's just coming back to the whole nervous system again, isn't it? It's like, again,
yeah,
at times.
yeah. Oh, I think I've lost you.
Um,
Are you
and not
there?
have to fight for it. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
oh, it's a little bit laggy.
Have I gone? Have I
I think
gone? Am I
I think you're
back?
back. You're back.
I'm
I
back, am
think.
I?
Yeah.
Am I definitely back? Are we good?
Yes, I can hear you now. We're good.
We're good. Okay. Right. Just blanking out that part of where I just waffled on about.
It's a deep dive,
So,
that one, Gemma.
it is. I think if I didn't if it didn't come through, it was literally I was talking about being safe to receive,
Yeah.
and that's the key.
I caught that bit. And that is, it's that feeling of being safe to receive. And I also recognize now that because I'm working on myself and recognizing that only I can give myself what it is that I need. And if I feel like if I'm lacking in something, it's because there's a lack somewhere of connection or understanding within myself. And so that's interesting for my partner because he's not experienced that before. He's there waiting for me to need him for something, to fix something, to have an answer for something. And he's learning that actually when I need the answer to something or I need some support, my answer is to take myself away and be with myself, which has rendered him at
Mm,
times feeling a bit useless, like I don't need him. And it's like, so he's slowly understanding the relationship I have with myself, um, and that I it's not that we're a partnership, we seek counsel from each other. Of course we do, but there are some things where I've now built such a strong relationship with myself that the first person I go to if I'm looking for something is myself. Um, and that really
yeah.
is
And
quite
that's
liberating.
sovereignty, Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I call sovereignty. This is what I'm starting to see is that actually sometimes a need can create attachments and possibly you could lose part of yourself. And this is the real connected in your own sovereignty, but then being able to also be in connection with others. But you're not, for me, I'm just seeing that I'm having to root completely and establish my own roots right now and not to have that dependency. Because through that dependency, it kind of triggers your childhood. It triggers the old inner child. It isn't, you're not necessarily your full self. So I'm currently navigating that at the moment, and money's part of that.
Yeah, it always is. It always is, Gemma. It's money has been, as I've said, the root of all the things that I have really had to work with and start at the roots again of my relationship with money and how I view it, how I value it, how I ultimately value myself. Um,
Mm,
and yeah, it's some of the hardest work that I've ever had to do, on top of navigating all the other things going on in life, getting used to being on my own, and, for the first time really in my adult life. And um, I think this is where women are recognizing that there is, this shift within themselves, and the people they share their life with will either give them that space to evolve and shift and still ebb and flow with them through life, or that shift is too great, and it's,
mm,
you recognize that there's, you're going on different paths. And that's where I
mm,
got to in my life. I felt it coming for a long time with the girl's dad. We've been through our ups and downs. There are lots of negatives, which is why, we split up. But ultimately, I can look at him now. He was the hardest lesson I ever had to learn, or he taught me the hardest lessons that I had to learn for myself. And I can now sit there and feel gratitude to him, because I believe that, we made this contract to teach each other these lessons. When I look at his astrology and mine and I put it together, and, I view it in that way, oh my God, I had so many epiphanies. And it's like he fulfilled his contract.
it did.
Um,
Yeah.
it was painful for both of us, but I now feel a lot of love for him, uh, and gratitude. Our souls are connected, even though we're not together anymore. He's a very key
Mm.
player in my life. He's the father of my children. But yeah, we had a big soul contract to fulfill. And we've done it, and we've managed to keep our relationship intact for the sake of the children. Um, Coming at life from that perspective, again, back to that word perspective and observing, has really helped me navigate, some of the hardest times in my life. Um, just shifting that perspective slightly. What's this come here to teach me? When you know that there
Mm.
is something here that you need to dive into, rather than occasionally looking at something going, well, it's not, it's just life and that's shit. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because you could bring in astrology into that and you could chart it, and then all of a sudden it goes, oh, it's personal, but it's not that personal. Actually, there's something to learn here because now I can actually see it. And again, it's that observation, it's that objectivity, and it's like, oh, okay, so it's not the drama, it's not the story. Yes, it's the emotion because I think we're all here to feel the emotion and then alchemize that emotion. We're here to take it, the darkest depth, the shame, the guilt, the fear, and actually alchemize it back to love. That's what I see, what we're, but you have to go in, you can't intellectualize it, you've got to feel it all. You've got to like actually feel the depth of it all, but not stay in the story of it and then rise it up through the heart and clear it out. This is, I think we're like this, but like the lotus, right? It
mm,
comes up from the darkest depths, but still shines nice and beautiful and pure through. I feel, but the fact that you had astrology, you were able to suddenly objectify it a little bit more and go, okay, this isn't the loop of victimhood. It's happening to me all the time. I can see that there's something for me to grow from here.
yeah, and I think again, there's that notion of making sure that you keep perspective. You don't get too lost in looking to something like astrology all the time,
Mm.
so that naturally what's going to unfold in your life is because you've seen it in your astrology. I tend to
Yes.
look at my astrology retrospectively so that I know that um yeah, that whatever's unfolded isn't because I already knew it, or I saw it
Oh,
when
so
I
you look
first
back, do you
started.
look back then to sort of see, ah, so
I
you're joining the
do.
dots up backwards, as it were.
Yeah, I do. I joined the,
Yeah.
obviously I know my base, my chart, my natal chart.
Yeah.
it was only a year after my separation that I started studying astrology, and so I was looking at his chart and mine in my training, and I was
Mm.
like, oh, I
Being,
I can see it now.
yeah.
And that's one of the things like people say to me, oh my God, like you can forecast astrology for the next 12 months, whatever. Do you do it on yourself all the time? And no, because I am obsessive about stuff like I can be. So
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I will live my life, make the choices that trust my intuition. I will live my life in that human way. And
Hmm.
then in at the end of every year or whenever, I will be like, I'm just gonna see, okay, so I did this at this point in March
Mm.
last year, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll just look back through my astrology and I love going, oh, I made that decision because Venus was there in my chart. That's
Yeah.
how I use it. Otherwise, you can become consumed by something and you
No,
also have to be
totally.
human.
Yeah. Which is again taking you out of connection to your body, what feels right. Because for me, everything's is about if your body shows you, if your womb shows you, aware of that part of you that goes, yeah, this is alignment, this is joy for me, this is right. The head might go, I have no idea what you're talking about, but your body's like, hell yeah, you do that. And for me, it's about my yoni and my sacral. Like, I used to call it pussy powers. Now it's womb wisdom, but it's kind of like when she I know I've shut her down too many times. I think that's what a lot of us women have done. We've just shut down the wisdom that is our womb, our yoni, and actually it's about giving her the voice again beyond what my sort of comprehension can be, and start to trust this connection and know that she's in alignment to my joy. Mm.
Mm, yeah,
And just to my truth. But like you say, if you rely on too many other things, you're kind of losing your sovereignty a little bit, aren't you? Your authorization.
yeah,
But I
absolutely.
love how you weave it back, and you can go, oh right, that's what was really. So it gives you more intel, doesn't it? It gives you more awareness of yourself even more.
100%, 100%. Honestly, I could disappear down a rabbit hole if I was to talk to you about astrology and how much it's changed my life. It is literally like it holds a mirror up to you, and a lot of it is stuff that you already knew, but sometimes that you need to hear it from someone else, right?
Mm.
And so astrology is like that, and there's so many ways that you can use it as your personal coach through life, again, in a balanced way. And I never saw that one coming, never. I was always obviously interested in the phases of the moon and worked with the moon for a long time, and then worked with other people around the moon phases. This astrology course, I've sensed that I wanted to go deeper. And this astrology course started on the day of my 40th birthday, and I took it as a massive sign, a massive sign. And it was a big fat yes. Excuse
We're
me.
both coughing,
I
aren't we?
know. I
There's
think
something shifting through.
there's something shifting, isn't it, as we speak?
No more coughing. Yeah.
No.
How interesting. I wonder what that is.
Yeah.
There's something clearing out.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
But
And then yeah.
yeah,
Oh well, this has been brilliant, and I think we could have so many different conversations
yeah,
about
we
different
could.
things. But I feel, and obviously you share as well. But what we sort of covered here is how we need to be able to create more space to create an objectivity of self, to not necessarily have the answer, to know that we're weaving. Um, when you were talking about your daughter earlier, that's what thing. It's like when you're talking about she can be the weaver of both worlds.
Mhm.
That's what she can be. She can be the golden thread that kind of brings the best together. And we're the weavers, aren't we? We're starting to realize what is true and start creating what is right, and have the
Mm.
patience. That's what I'll take from this. Have the patience to
Yeah.
not have to jump all in have all in trust with self, but necessarily don't have to throw everything into one thing. You create a transition.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think if I could say to anybody right now who wants to make that massive change in their life and the whole thing just feels so big and so overwhelming and uncertain, like hold on to that vision of what you know what you want your life to be as it unfolds through that and comes out the other side of that transition. But what do you need to get you through that transition, whether it's to leave the relationship or find the job that gives you the financial means to create that change you're looking for, while allowing that softer part of your life that you want to bring more of into your life to still be there to nurture you through that
Mm,
transition, because you need that stability to a certain point to give you that trust to make that change.
mm,
For some people, that most people, that's how they need to do it, and that's how I did it. Um, and, life has this incredible way of unfolding in a way that you never saw coming, in a much faster time frame than you probably thought it would ever be.
mm,
Um, so, just look at what is it that you need to get yourself to move away from this situation that you're in at the moment. Just take
mm,
that step. And then once you're there, reassess. Okay, what do I need now to bring a bit more of that into my life? Where can I create a little bit of space to create more of that I want to do in my life? And, most people that works for them that way. Some people
mm.
hit that point where they're like, everything just goes. And that day they quit their job, they walk out, and I'm not saying that that's not a way of doing it, but for most people, especially if you've got bills to pay or kids to look after, yeah, find your route, your grounding, that will help you to navigate that, to
Yeah,
take that step.
it's finding it comfortably for you, but not staying in that restricted comfort zone either. It's like
Yeah.
keep stretching, keep breathing, keep expanding a little bit more, fill up that expansion. Know that you might contract a bit because that's part of the paradox of expansion and contraction, and just keep kind of being with it. And I do think this is the weaving of like the feminine is all of a sudden going, this is what I want. And then it's about our masculine energy to go, okay, how do we do this? How do we
Hmm.
bring this into presence? And it's not about rejecting that masculine, which I know that's what I've done a lot because of trauma, because of wounds.
Hmm.
We actually want to bring that masculine part in, not the doing, being busy, but it's like, how do I bring presence to what I'm trying to create?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect
Oh,
said.
thank you, beautiful lady. And if anybody, I'm sure they will, but how do they get to find more about you and your amazing work that you do? Especially shamanic womb. I'm interested.
Yeah, so you can find me at Lisa Natural Me on Facebook and Instagram. You can also find me at naturalme at teachable.com. That's my website. Um, if you're interested in hands-on therapy with me, and you live local to Lincoln, you can check out the lunarroom.co.uk. All of my therapies are on there.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Do you do
And
anything online in terms of like online therapy? When did you work? Yeah.
it's definitely so. I do energy work online. Um, it's actually something that I'm just starting to move into. A lot of people have asked if I can do some work with them online because they're slightly further afield.
Mm,
So I do a spiritual development session for people. This is one example. So I've always done them in person. Someone's been on my couch. I've, done the energy work, and then I've helped connect them with their higher self, their intuition, their guides. This is something that I'm now moving into online. But it's the same with the shamanic womb healing. This is stuff that I could be there as that guide for
mm,
you while we do a lot of heart womb stuff. So yeah, it's something that's unfolding.
Mm,
Most of the therapy stuff is still in very much in person, but I definitely there's an opening there for that I'm slowly moving into.
yeah, I think definitely there's a calling to go more energetic with people to reach. There's something so beautiful being physically held, but then I've always thought that's more powerful than the energy work. But recently just been doing somatic like energy work online. It's like
Mm.
actually it's really powerful. So there's definitely I think we are being called to take this out further,
Yeah, yeah,
reach more people.
yeah, definitely. I can feel it too.
Perfect. Oh, well, thank you once again. And thank you, beautiful goddesses, for listening. And we'll take care.